to just crafting around. Today we are going to attempt to make a thankful sign. What we are going to do is we are going to take some barnwood, which I have right here, which is really, really pretty, and we're going to use the back of the barnwood for this project. It is some really nice, pretty wood. So what we're going to do is, like I said, we are going to attempt to make this. It's a plaque. It does say thankful up here, and with pictures that you can hang in the bottom. So let's get started. First off, this is what I made all of these ahead of time, and I'm going to show you how I did this. What I did is I layered some paint on here. I took and purchased, and you can purchase these anywhere. I looked for a size that's going to fit really good on the board that I have right here, the old board. And I did find to where I can spell out the word thankful, and it fits really, really nice on here. Then I decided what I wanted to do with it. Did I want to distress it a little bit? What did I want it to look? How do I want it to look? So I found the size. I walked around to see what I actually wanted to put on it. I wanted to give it a little bit of character. So what I did was I bought these brads. They're just little brads. You can get them in any color. You can even get them like in hot pink, yellow, any different kinds of colors. I used the black on black because I wanted to give it a little something else. So I wanted to be able to show it off a little bit more. So I will show you how that's done. A lot of this with this project is going to be painting. I decided on the color. I wanted it to be black, and I wanted the inside to be kind of a cream color and not white because I didn't want it to shout out. I wanted it to just be kind of hitting, kind of vintage looking, kind of old looking. Of course, that's how most of my stuff is, but this is the look that I was actually looking for. Now, the other thing that you could do is you could paint this with a chalk paint and just write on here different things. Instead of using the whole word thankful, if you wanted to just do the word parent or whatever, that way you can change it up. You could just wipe this off and put whatever you wanted to on it. So that would be another thing you could do. What I did first was I decided the size, like I said. I then decided what I was going to do is this is the size I chose. I did pick these up at Hobby Lobby. They do come in, I believe it's 6 to a pack. So I did pick them up. Again, use your coupon. You can get 40% off if they aren't already on sale. So use your Hobby Lobby coupon. I did see that you could purchase them at Michael's in Bismarck, so you could purchase them there as well. Or you could cut them out of any kind of wood. I am not that good, so of course I am not going to cut them out. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to put on 2 coats of the cream color. Once I put on the 2 coats of the cream color, I then am going to use a sticker. And the reason I use the stickers is I'm not very good with using stencils. Had to think of the word, but I'm not very good with using stencils. I can't seem to get them on evenly. So what I do is I buy the stickers, and then, especially when I'm doing a project like this, and I'll show you how we're going to use them. So this is what we're going to do. Like I said, you can get your colors together. You can color it any color that you want. That is not an issue. Decide your colors. I am not going to paint the side. I'm just going to paint the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the top. I'm going to let it dry. I like to let it dry at least an hour before I paint the second coat over the top. I like to let it dry really, really good. If you're in a hurry, what I've done before is taken my hair dryer, my blow dryer, and I've actually took my hair dryer and used that so that it would dry a little quicker. If you're in a hurry, that's something that you can do. Okay, got coat 1 on. Put it on fairly heavy. Make sure that you go the same way when you're painting. If you're going up and down in your brush strokes like this, go up and down all the way. If you're going to go to the side all the time instead of so that when it dries, you can't see your brush strokes. Some of them gone this way, some of them gone that way. That irritates me. You need to go the same way all the time. Okay, now with chalk paint does not take very long to dry, but I still give it an hour in between to let it dry so that it doesn't set up and it doesn't get ugly. When you're using chalk paint, wash your brush right away. If you hold on to it and you wait for so long, your brush is going to get nasty looking. Okay, we're going to set this to the side. I am going to take some time and get that washed off. As always, don't forget the coffee. We all need coffee, or at least I do anyway. Now when I'm waiting for that to dry, what I did was I wanted a line. I want a straight line right here. So I took my ruler and I measured on here where my line and stuff was going to be. I knew I wanted the word thankful on here. So what I did was I took the squares like this and I laid them out. And I kind of decided how much on each end I wanted the wood to show. So with that being said, I then took a piece of wood like this, just a small piece, and I put it in the middle so that when I would place the one on here, I have a mark, and then the tape is going to help me so that I get right to the bottom of the tape. What I did then, from the T to the H, is I took a little chunk of wood. I put the wood in here and made another mark so that I've got them evenly spaced out. Then my next one I know is going to go right here. Space that, make my mark. Same thing here. I knew, okay, this is where I needed to be. Here's my chunk of wood so that every one of them would get spaced correctly. And believe it or not, it actually ended up at each side. I didn't even have to make the correction for it. So it's helpful to have little pieces of wood like this laying around, because I do that quite often. Instead of using a tape measure or instead of using a ruler, which I did when I measured up, but then for little things like this, something like this is absolutely perfect. So save some of your little chunks of wood because you never know when they're going to come in handy. And again, I made my mark so that the next one I could just take and put right in here. And like I said, that is how you're going to be able to get them evenly spaced. Okay, we are going to give this coat number 2. And again, we're just going to paint on the top because our next coat of paint, we're going to paint the sides of it. So just layer it on the top. There are different sizes of this type of wood that you can find. There's a bigger size, and then there's even a bigger size yet on top of it. But I like to already get the pre-cut wood. Not only does it save you time, but it saves you headache, especially if you want to make the rounded, if you want to have the wood rounded, or you want to have it angled, or I can saw wood, but I can't saw wood that great. So here's coat number 2 going over the top. And again, keep your brush strokes the same. The reason I'm putting 2 coats on here is because when I put on the second or my top coat, I want to be able to sand it down and sand down to actually get into the cream color. So that's why I'm using 2 coats instead of 1. Because I want it to show through, and I want it to show through pretty good. I really do not want it to show through to the wood. I just want to be able, when I'm sanding, to show through to the next color of paint. What I've done before, and I've done at home with a project, is I used duck egg blue chalk paint, and I painted it a couple times, and I put this cream color over the top of it. And then when I took my piece of sandpaper and sanded it down, it really, the duck egg blue showed through in the places that I wanted it to, and it turned out to be a perfect project. you have to play with different colors. There's different kinds of chalk paint. Everybody is out there right now selling the chalk paint because they know that chalk paint is easy to use. For number one, distressing, very, very easy to use for that. If you're going to be doing bigger projects, easy to distress, easy to use, love the chalk paint. When you use acrylic paint is nice, but it's harder, much harder to sand off, much harder to actually work with a little bit more. It comes in a lot more colors with the enamel. It's just that you have to work with it a little bit more is all. Okay, after this dries, we are going to put our sticker on here with whatever letter that we're going to be using. We will put our sticker on, and then when we come back, we will cover it up with our third coat of paint, and then we'll go from there.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
Okay, now that we've got our 2 coats of paint on here, it's looking pretty good. We are going to take our sticker. These are just stickers that we place on here. And we're just going to use one that we're not going to be using a lot because I've already made the thank you part. So just a sticker. But what I'm going to do is when I place these on here, I measured the piece of wood itself, and then that's how I kind of got my up and down, and I put a little line there so that I knew how far down I could put it. And then I just kind of eyeballed it side to side, because when you match these up, you don't want one up higher and down lower, and when you match them up, you want it to be all somewhat straight across the bottom. So that's what I did with those, and I'm going to do that here as well. Just going to go up a little ways, just put a little line there. See if that's where I had it. Looks pretty good to me. Now when you use a sticker, I'm going to take it, put the sticker on, and then I'm going to take the chalk paint and I'm going to brush it over the top. Before it dries, I'm going to pull the sticker off, and the reason is if you wait too long to take it off, you're going to get all this residue behind here and then try to get it off the wood. It's very, very difficult to do. So here we go. I'm going to put the sticker down. You may have some bleeding going through the sticker, but that's okay. You can clean that up with an X-Acto knife. So I'm just going to lightly put it down. I'm not going to press down too hard because remember, we have to pull it back up. So now going to put a coat over the top, and when we put a coat over the top, again, when you're brushing, so that it doesn't bleed too much, brush from the top of the sticker outwards, because then you're not going to get all that bleeding in there. So we're going to brush from here going out this way. Okay, same thing here, brush going out this way. Then when we are done, it's still going to be where your paint is wet, and you can go all the way up the sides like this to get it so that the stroke is all one way. But when you're brushing it on to get a really good effect, and so you don't have that bleeding going on, and of course you're going to have a little bit where it runs under because it's not perfect science by all means. once I have the sticker off, that is when I am going to do the sides, but I'm going to wait to do the sides until then. And I'm just doing one coat of this. The reason I'm just doing one coat of this is because I'm going to come back through with a piece of sandpaper and sand it down so that you can see the white. Okay, so now I have everything going through here pretty good. This paint dries quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to lift up one corner very gently. And I'm going to start to pull it. It depends on what kind of sticker, because I've got just a little bit of residue on here already from the back of the sticker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get that pulled up right away. I don't want to let it set too far. When you take the sandpaper, it'll help a little bit, but you'll still have some of that residue on there. Now, if you're good at stencils, by all means, you can use stencils. The other thing is you can get reusable stickers. Reusable stickers are very, very nice. If you can find them, I suggest those would be the ones that you could use. Okay, we get a little bit of this sticky residue on here, but like I said, you clean it up with your X-Acto knife. Don't worry about scratching the wood, because remember, we are going to be going over it with a piece of sandpaper anyway. So I don't usually get too excited. Now, a little bit different story if you don't want to distress it. If you don't want to distress it, then you're going to have to work with it a little bit more. Or like I said, what you could do is actually go and get your the stickers that you can reuse. Reusable stickers are really nice. I do have some of those at home, and I really like them. I do have just a couple of places here, and I'll show you what I do to clean them up. I use an X-Acto knife, or I use my husband's utility knife. I do have a utility knife set at home that I really, really like. There we go. And I'll get in here once the paint dries a little bit more. Scuff it up. Rag. Like I said, if you're going to be where you're going to be using this just like this, it turned out pretty good. Like I said, if it bleeds underneath, just take your X-Acto knife and just slowly go around it. Take a look at it, go around it. You can take some of that off. Remember, if you scratch the back off of it, you're going to have this cream color underneath it. So when you scratch lightly with your X-Acto knife to clean it up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this paint and I'm going to paint the sides of it. The X-Acto knife and the utility knives are very, very sharp, so be careful. And of course I say that because I truly am talking from experience. I do a project and I don't cut myself or burn myself with hot glue throughout the project, I'm not happy. At least once or twice while I'm working on a project. Hot glue is the one where I really get nailed a lot. I like hot glue. We have a love-hate relationship, a hot glue gun and myself. Seems like I am forever burning my fingers. They do make gloves or little finger covers. And I did buy some of those and try them, but I didn't really care for them. But maybe all I gotta do is give it another try. Okay, we now have our outsides done. Gonna wait until that dries. Once that dries, we are going to take a piece of sandpaper after it. Once we take the sandpaper over it and we knock it down, we are then going to use, we're gonna come back and we are going to use the stain. I get the Minwax Wood Finish, the penetrating stain. I usually get the dark walnut. You can try whatever colors you want to try. I have tried this. I've tried oak. I've got about 3 different colors that I try. Sometimes if I want something to look a little bit reddish, I try to get a little more of a reddish tint in it. Depends on what I'm really looking for. What kind of a technique, how dark I want it to be, what is it that I'm really looking for in it. We'll be back in a minute once this dries and I will show you the technique that we're going to use to sand it.
Get 3 months free access on all lines plus a new 4G smartphone for only $4.99 a month. 2 great offers with Valley Cellular. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to take advantage of this great deal.
Okay, now we are going into phase 2. This is how it turned out. Now we're going to take sandpaper. I like to rough the sandpaper up and top a little bit to get it down to the cream color that's showing through. I like to do the tops like this so that you can see it. We'll do the sides as well, but I like to get it on the top. The top is what gives it the look of worn. So we're going to go all the way around, do the top, do the sides. Don't ever forget the sides. Now you can even go in and beat it up more. Today though, I'm just going to use the sandpaper. I'm not going to go in and beat it up. You can actually take different things and hit it so that it's got, you know, like the holes in it and whatever. Today we're just going to sandpaper it. Now you can see when I sandpaper the black, the white is starting to come through, and that's exactly what we want to do. The cream color is coming through. We are going to go on the cream color as well, because we want that to look aged. We are going to go in there. Looks good to me. I want it aged down here a little bit, up here a little bit. Of course, in the inside a little bit. Then when you're done, before we put on the Minwax, we want to make sure and wipe it off because you've got sawdust on there. Okay, next step. We are going to take our Minwax that we have. I just shake it just a little bit. Put on the gloves, glove up. Because you will make a mess. And when I did these, I did them all in line. I did one thing first, went down the row, painted all of the blocks that I needed, went down, painted the second time, let it dry real good. In fact, I let mine dry overnight. When I came back, I did the letters one by one. I didn't paint and then go down the line and go down the line. Again, because I didn't want the sticker to dry on with the paint. Because I knew when the paint would dry, the sticker would dry too, and I didn't want that to happen. Okay, here we go. I get it good. Then I take it and I put it on the wax paper. I dab it on here because I don't want my rag to be soaking wet, but I do want some of it on there. You can always put on more, but you can't take it off once you've got it on. And again, if you like it like this, you don't even have to do this step. I just do this step to age things more. So now you can tell, put it on, and take it off. If you want more on, you can always sand and reopen what I call the pores. But I seriously like it just the way it is. And like I said, if I would want it to look any different, you may want to look into getting a different stain, different colored stain. If not, and you like it the way it is, fine. Or like I said, you can sand it down. There's been a few times that I've resanded stuff of mine because I didn't like the way it turned out, so I resanded it again and I put on a little bit heavier coat. Okay, now we are going to put that to the side. And we are now going to bring in the brads. The brads, I found those, I've got those on sale again. I'm big with crafts. If I'm going to do crafts, I don't buy it unless it goes on sale or unless I have a coupon for it. I have a purse just for coupons. This is what the brad looks like. Again, you can get them in colors. You can also get them in silver, you can get them in bronze, and you can get them in black. I chose the black. So you can see that with the brads that you put them in, it's not, you can't pound them into the wood. They actually have that you pull it apart to keep it in there. So this is what we're going to do. I measured all my other ones so that they all look about the same, which they don't. The eye is kind of deceiving, and the reason is because they're rounded, and then I went on the top and I took off some of the paint so that when I stained it, the stain would come through. Okay, now we're ready to drill. I picked the smallest drill that I had available for the brat. Got this cool drill. And I just drilled a little hole in here. Be sure and have something underneath it so that when you drill, like an old phone book, that you get your little hole. Once you have your little hole, you could carefully take and put this brad in there and then expand. And when you expand the back, it looks like that. And the brat is in here. So perfect. That's what I want. Okay, now to the piece of wood that we have. Again, I just did this for a line so that I knew that this was going to be the line that I needed to put them on, the word thankful. We're going to hot glue the letters on. Then after we hot glue the letters to come out to the word thankful, we are going to put these clips in so that you can hang your pictures from these clips. So, and let's make sure we get it spelled right, because I do have a tendency not to spell things right. T-H-A-N-K-F-U-N-L. Perfect. Again, I'm going to hot glue them on. I'm going to use the hot glue, and the hot glue is actually Gorilla Glue hot glue. And it's used, when you look for glue sticks, look that they're all purpose, but look to make sure that they stick to the wood. Okay, I've got my lines all marked, and remember when we first started, I said I use this chunk of wood. So I got my starting point right here. Gonna eyeball it so it sits down where I want it to and over, and then I'm gonna take my chunk of wood once I have it on there, line it up so I know my next one is gonna be butt up to this chunk of wood. That is the only way that I know that it was going to work for this. Plus, I've seen my husband do things like this a few times. But don't tell him I really noticed. Okay, I'm going to take our glue, and I'm going to put quite a bit around the outsides of it because I want it to stick really good and not come apart. So we're going to load her down. We can clean it up if we need to. You can't wait too long because hot glue dries quickly. So when you get it in place and you get it where you want it, hold it down for a little bit, clean it up. If you've got any that's coming out, clean it up right away. Again, I'm an eyeballer. It's kind of funny because things actually work out better for me when I eyeball them than when I measure them. I'm not sure why. I think it's just me. So, our first one is on. Now on to number 2, to the H. Okay. I'm gonna make my little mark of where I want this. Place it right there. Okay, so I know where my next one is gonna be. And again, hot glue. And I have my place already marked out. I know where I'm going to go with it. And I know I have to come down. I'm going to take a look to make sure that it looks okay. Because like I said, you're not going to have much time. You've got to put it down and take a good look at it. And it fits right in there, exactly what I want. So I went along and I've already done my measurements. I'll clean this off while it's still warm because then it's the easiest to do. Next is the A, and we continue as we go on down. You're gonna need, if you're gonna put on some hot glue here, and you're gonna put on quite a bit, you're gonna need quite a few sticks. I'm not gluing in the middle, I'm just gluing around the outsides. Press down, hold it for a little bit so that if any of it's going to ooze out, you can get it right away. And we check, and we're good. Once we're done with this, we're going to measure a little bit and put in our deals to hold our clamps to hold our pictures. Had to go get some screws to put those on, so we will see how that's going to turn out. Looks like everything is working so far.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. High definition and caller ID is now free with all TV packages. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to find out more.
Okay, now that we've got all the blocks and stuff hot glued on here, I'm going to take the tape off the bottom. Because remember, it's not on here for any reason other than so that I kind of had a line of how far to the bottom I wanted to go. Okay, now I have these clips, and I'm going to need to fasten these on pretty good. I can't just hot glue these on because you're going to want to change pictures and stuff out. So I went to the lumber yard, and I've got some screws that we're going to use to screw on here. But first of all, I want to see where I want to put them. I'm only going to use 4 of them because I don't want to clutter it up so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where I want to put it, and then I'm going to go every other one here, and it'll end up to be the 4 that I'm going to put on. Now these as well, when I put these on, I want these to be put on even straight across. So I'm going to do the 4 of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to drill a little hole first to get it started before I put them in. And then when I'm done, beans these, if you can see the silver head really good, I'm just going to take a dab of black paint and paint it right in here. So I'm going to take one of my pictures, one of my thankful pictures. And of course, one of my thankful pictures just happens to be my wonderful grandkids. So I'm going to put that on here, and I'm going to see how far up I want to go because I'm not quite sure how far up to go. Okay. We talked it over and decided how we're going to put these on. So this is going to work out good because we are going to put them right, have it right underneath that. So that should work out pretty good. And like I said, I'm going to pre-drill a hole. I'm going to mark it with my pin. So right here. Come along and use my drill. And I'm going to use the smaller bit for right now. Not going to drill through all the way because I don't want it to be coming out through the back. Now let's see how we did. There. Have to change this out, which is as easy as that. See if I have a small enough bit here. For goodness sakes, with all of these that I have in here, you would think, I think I did find it already. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now let's see. Of course I have an extension because I'm going to have to use the extension. Voila! I even know about extensions. If you had asked me that a while back, I'd have said, what the heck is an extension? But I kind of know now, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay. And it's in. Okay. Now that we are done tacking on the deals to hold the pictures, we are going to put our pictures on here. The things that we are thankful for. I am thankful for my kids and I am thankful for my grandkids. I am thankful for health. So many things in the world to be thankful for. So, and we are nearing the end of this project. And these are the things I am thankful for. Come back and join us again for another edition of Just Crafting Around. See you next time.